6 months, the rest of this year or so, to get more in line with other central banks across the world. We've spoken about negative yields and over the next such, so it should be interesting. And this year or so, like I said, just be real careful around that 10 a.m. mark when he speaks.
All right, excellent, guys. I think I got this figured out, so hopefully that works for our YouTube friends over here. All right, so guys, let's get into it. Let's go to our gappers list over to NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers, and see what we got going on in these areas. So let's remove this here, and let's start over with this one here, PBTL. All right, so PBTL, guys, at this moment up 8.62. Wait, is that right? Hold on, let me get this a little bit more extended here. Wow, 28,000 shares traded so far. So is this some kind of buyout? Must be, because again, the volume is just insane.
Yeah, this is VMware's purchasing actually the first Pivotal here, and then CBLK, and so these are both buyouts by BMW.
All right, excellent. That makes sense. Yeah, look at that number. I'm just like, wait, that is wild. 29,000 shares. So you can see here, huge block.
29 million.
29 million, sorry, 29 million. So you can see huge volume here at this point. All right, so let's head down over. So again, that's probably not going to be tradable, guys. I'm just going to remove it from my list. CRM we have here. This one is up 6.3. At this point, 444,000 shares traded at the moment. That's a nice little gap here. CRM is one of those stocks that does not trade very clean throughout the intraday. You can take a look at some of these days here. They don't trade extremely well. But again, today it has some good volume. It has a nice little pop here. You can see some areas of good support and resistance. So definitely one that we want to watch this morning. Any news on this one? Some earnings or something going on?
Yeah, they reported earnings last night. They beat earnings, they beat revenues, they beat their own guidance. It was just all around a good story. We shall see what happens here. It is traded up pretty well this morning, and it is approaching it's about $10 from its all-time high. But CRM can move, as you said. It's not the easiest stock to trade from my experience.
Excellent.
So that is the situation on that.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on CRM this morning. CBLK, I saw some comments in the chat room that this one is one that is actually part of the buyout.
Yeah, same buyout on that.
All right, excellent. So again, I'm just going to remove that one there. Probably not going to be tradable. Our buddy JD here. Again, JD's has had a couple of very interesting days here. Again, trading very well when it's in play like this. So this morning we are down 2.2 on it. Not the cleanest pre-market activity. We do have 153,000 shares traded so far on this bad boy. So definitely in play. I do like the daily though. As crappy as it might look here, you can see where we're back at this area of support and resistance on the daily, right where the price action is. And then slightly below that, you have several days that you can see some support on there as well. So JD looks interesting, guys. It's got a little bit of volume here. Hopefully it can get better as the open develops, but this is definitely one that looks interesting this morning. Wow, we have MU here. We have not seen MU on this list in quite a bit, and obviously you could tell by the daily chart has been very choppy, hence the reason why it might not be coming up on our gappers list. But it is down to exactly 2% this morning, and this right here is actually a pretty decent pre-market activity for MU. MU does not move very well in that nice flow that we like to see. So not pretty bad for what we're seeing so far this morning. 150,000 shares traded, also sitting right at a level of support and resistance before. So resistance here, and we have several days of support. The price action is right on that 43.88. Hopefully we can get something out of that today. So again, this could be a good one to watch. We haven't watched MU in a long time, at least I haven't personally. We'll see what we can get out of that. PTD, guys, this is the one that gapped up very strong a couple of days ago, about 2 days ago. This was on Wednesday, but the action on that first open was very crappy, very choppy. A lot of this great move here that was done towards the gap up was done in the pre-market, so it had a beautiful pre-market activity. And Brian was mentioning also early that morning that it just had ran up so much in the pre-market. It just got very toppy, didn't have no juice left to keep going. So at that open, it was just extremely choppy. I remember getting stopped out twice on this, and I just left it alone after that. So here we can see, yeah, exactly. It was just so hard, so difficult. This morning, guys, doesn't have a lot going on. Just 116,000 shares traded. I do like the fact that we have this nice gap here. If this thing is going to be weak today, it can really take off towards the downside. But again, pre-market activity not looking all that great. So we'll keep it on here. Let's see if it gets better. But at the moment, not looking all that nice. Next, we have BABA. So BABA is down 2%. Again, BABA's daily chart has been pretty impressive lately. Has actually been doing pretty well. Did not see how it traded on this day here, but today we are down exactly 2%, 309,000 shares traded. Again, also sitting around that area of prior support and resistance, right below some moving averages. So that's exciting as well. We do have the 200 that is also creeping up down here as well. That could be a good area. We can put a level of support on that around that price range. So BABA's looking okay. Pre-market activity not all that great, but that's typical for BABA, guys. You don't get that great flow like you see on an AMD and those other stocks. So we could definitely.
I'll just point out that PDD, JD, BABA, MU are all really kind of moving with the SPY based on this China tariff news. They all hit the skids right there at 8 o'clock along with SPY in the market. So these Chinese stocks, that's kind of what's going on there.
That makes perfect sense. That's why they're all kind of sitting at that 2%, I will assume, right? So MU almost 2%, JD, BABA, yeah. So that makes sense. Now they're now above that 2%, so they're not coming up in our gappers list, but they'll be dancing back and forth between the gappers if they keep coming down below that 2%. So next we have HPQ. Now HPQ is down quite a bit. HPQ down 9% this morning, 203,000 shares traded. Obviously something is wrong with this one today. I don't see too much of a great daily chart, very choppy in this area the last couple of weeks, the last 2-3 weeks or so. We have a nice drop here today. Pre-market activity is looking decent, looks very okay for this morning. Norm, what do we have on this one? What's causing this 9% drop?
They reported earnings, but the real catalyst moving this one this morning is the departure of their CEO, which they announced last night as well, along with their earnings. So that is what is pushing this one down. I've in the past found this not great to trade either. Its ATR puts it just barely in the range of what makes our scanners. So
gotcha. Yeah, daily doesn't look.
It's kind of like an IBM in a way, just a lower priced IBM.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't look all that exciting on the actual daily chart. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one today. And here we have FL, if I'm not mistaken. This is Foot Locker. We haven't traded this in some time. Wow. That's a nice big drop. 11%, 655,000 shares traded so far already. Foot Locker could be tough to trade. I recall trading this quite a bit. Either last year or the year before. It was constantly in play. And again, it could be very tough to trade, but today is down quite a bit. Very interesting daily we have going on here. I'm assuming this has to be earnings, Norm.
Yeah, they reported earnings this morning that were garbage, to say the least. So they've been affected. We've been getting a slew of retail earnings over the last week and a half to 2 weeks, and the trend has kind of been, if you're a retailer focusing on digital and not based in malls, you've been okay. If you're a retailer in a mall, especially with products that could come highly under tariffs, like Foot Locker, that you are getting hammered. And that is playing out yet again in FL this morning.
Gotcha. All right, so here again, a nice drop here, guys. Definitely in play today. Pre-market activity, it's looking a little funky. You got some big candles here that are messing up the flow, but this is a good pre-market activity. If you take out these big candles that are kind of messing up the chart here, you can see that we do have a nice flow on Foot Locker. So definitely want to watch. Down 12%, continues to drop here. Low at 36, got a little bounce from 36, so we'll see how that develops in later this morning. All right, let's go to our NASDAQ active. So we have the TVX Volatility Index up quite a bit today because obviously the SPY is slightly down. OPTT this morning's popping up, but this stock is not tradable. I've seen this quite a bit. Is this a low? It should be a low flow as well. OPTT. Yeah, so 1 million shares float, guys. So again, just very low flow stock. It usually pops up and then it just sells off. We watched this quite a bit in the past. So again, here's the gap up, and then sells down at the open. It does that quite a bit. Look at this craziness over here. Again, so not really one that is going to be in play for, at least not for me this morning. NASDAQ ETFs down quite a bit as well with the markets. CBLK we talked about. This is one involved in a buyout. AMD is here, probably as Norm mentioned earlier today, moving with the markets. It has some good volume though, 972,000 shares, down about 1.8. So I like the way AMD is moving right now with this type of traffic. So this is good today. We got some more NASDAQ ETFs. VIVE, penny stock, not really tradable. TIGR, this one is heading south here quite a bit. 405,000 shares traded so far. It is actually up 1% now. It seems like it was up probably 10 or so at some point, but just kind of giving it all back right now. Not really tradable. It looks like it's trading more like a penny stock, so I'm just going to stay away from this one. We have Apple this morning. Apple is, again, just kind of moving with the market as well, down around that 1.3-2% this morning. So again, Apple could be one to watch as well. It looks like today, guys, we're getting a lot of those down, a negative 0.3, negative 0.5, 0.7, 0.9. Again, these are all because of the market. So in a situation like this, you want to take the ones that have great volume, great liquidity, like AMD, right? AMD is great. Apple is going to be great today if the market continues to tank. MU, JD could follow suit. JD could be a little more trickier, doesn't get the quite as the volume as these other ones get. I mean, you can already see AMD almost hitting 1 million shares, Apple, at 400, and you have MU at 154. But even though that's 154, MU is going to get the traffic for sure. Let's head over to NASDAQ gainers. FFHL, not doing much, guys. It's, again, just nasty pre-market activity. OPTT, we looked at, it's just, again, selling off. Usually does, it sells up and then just sells right back down. DVAX, not much going on here. OSN, no volume. CERS, nothing happening there. ACST, also no volume. CBLK we talked about already. This is a possible buyout. DHXM, no activity. And then we have the volatility index here again. And then last one on this list, OBLN, also another one, doesn't trade very well. Look at the volume, just not there. It's gapping up 5%, but not really giving you much action. All right, guys, so that is what we have so far. Norm, what do you like this morning? And guys, you can start typing in what do you have on your end that we might not have on this list.
To be very honest with you, Carlos, I like very, very little. Like I said, I'm concerned. I'm concerned at this 10 o'clock speech by Powell that it'll be much like a 1 o'clock Fed, announcement that we get when the market goes haywire. So given that my time horizon for a trade to play out is not going to be very long, let's say I sit 5 minutes or 10 minutes to find a good trade, it's only going to give me 15 or 20 minutes to exit the position for it to play out. If it's something that drags on a little bit before it makes a move, it's going to keep that from happening. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'd really rather be flat going into his speech. So
yeah.
Just a thought there. VMW, a couple that we haven't looked at. I don't think you looked at VMW. I'll take a look at that. Boeing BA might be interesting. They had some news that came out yesterday. I'm going to be watching Foot Locker. Out of our gappers list, the only thing I'll even consider on that is HPQ and FL. They're the only two that aren't buyouts that have their own individual catalyst. And then even my stuff that's on my normal list, Apple, NVIDIA, Roku, Facebook, I won't be, I probably will not be touching them just because of the news that I'm talking about, at least until I'm going to give it a little time this morning. Be very patient. This is a great day to sit on your hands and test your patience.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, let's see what you guys have on your end as well. So RRGB, yeah, not much happening here, guys. Looks like we had some levels for this before, probably when it had gapped up here. But again, guys, not much going on with this pre-market activity, no volume, so not looking all that great this morning. Next we have is that US oil. Yeah, US oil. So again, this one, it depends. This can move in so many different ways. I usually don't trade this. Again, it just depends on how the market's doing. Obviously, it's down quite a bit today, but I usually don't go into these ones trying to trade one of our strategies, right? It's kind of like TVIX. You don't go in there trying to trade an ABCD pattern, because it really just moves with what the market is doing and the conditions. So I'll be very careful with this one. It could be tradable, but not one that I'm gonna put on my list and look to trade. And Tesla. All right, looking at Tesla here, we do have oops, let's get Tesla on all screens. Here we go. All right, yeah, so Tesla again just down quite a bit. Again, I think a lot of this stuff between that -1.5 and -2% is all just moving with the market, guys. So I'm gonna watch stuff that's gonna have a lot of volume. If the market tanks, AMD could be good to watch, and Apple could be good to watch in that situation. Try to get a scalp out of that. But again, not much going on here. Look at this pre-market activity too, not great at all, even with the volume you're getting. NETE, what's this? NTE had a big day yesterday. Looks like a low flow to me, guys. NETE. Yep, 3 million shares flow. So be careful with this. Again, it had a big day yesterday. Looked like just in the pre-market, it went as high as 750 here. Now back down at 5. I think the fun might be over. Whoever got in here thinking it was going to do another day like this is really hurting right now. You're down $2.50. So be careful with this. It could bounce off of here, but again, this is a low flow stock. So this thing has been trading normally around this $3-4 range, right? You have a nice pop that happened yesterday. You have another pop that happened pre-market. And again, who knows what's going to happen next on this one. Just be very careful with trading this type of stock. What else? We have Facebook. Yeah, see, Facebook, I don't know if it's going to lose the support at 180. If it loses that, it can definitely drop, but I guarantee you this is also just kind of moving with the market right now. It doesn't have its own, like Nora mentioned, only Foot Locker, probably HPQ have their own catalyst. And you could tell because if you look at the actual percentages, are the only ones that are not within this range, right? Everybody else is kind of within this range. PDDs could be a different case. This one actually gapped up quite a bit on 2 days ago, so this could be just some profit taking, but the rest of these are just moving based on the market. CRM is the only one that's green today, and that one is also just moving on its own.
I forgot to mention that I'll watch CRM too, but just I'll keep it in the back of my head that it is often fairly difficult to trade.
Exactly. Yep. All right. So what?
And PDD I won't touch because it's. I promise myself I'll never trade that again. I didn't even take a loss on it, like a bad loss or anything. It's just garbage. And Facebook, Carlos, on that bottom where you have Facebook one day, will you change that to a SPY 5 minute real quick?
This one here?
Yeah.
Oh, SPY. So SPY.
SPY.
Here we go. Oh, yeah.
That's what I won't be touching Facebook, guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's just exactly identical. You can't
it's
tell
the same damn chart.
Yep. So that, and again, we might see a lot of that today. So next we have GPS earnings. So let's see what we have a GPS. Let's get the daily here. GPS, yes, it's not much volume. It's down 4.7. Like I say, if they had earnings, that don't have a lot going on right now. The pre-market activity is looking pretty crappy as well. Look at this, guys. Just not looking too exciting here. So we'll see. We'll see what we can get out of that. But again, not looking all that great right now. Again, it's going to be one of those days, guys. We're going to have to be very, very patient. I think a lot of these stocks are just going to be moving with the market. Let's see what the SPY does. And I expect it to be very choppy until this call happens. Usually what tends to happen, right, Norm? We've seen this so many times where it's just choppy. Everybody's going to be waiting to see what comes out of this this meeting.
Yep.
All right. What else?
Michelle, so I mentioned it briefly earlier, but so China right at 8 a.m. Eastern 1 hour ago mentioned they're going to slap retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. For what we're adding in September and December. So that's what's caused us to go green to red this morning.
All right, guys, let's see. All right, so let's get into some announcements, and then we'll start chopping this list up. Again, not a lot looks great here this morning. so far, but we'll see what we can get out of that. And then again, I'm gonna have a SPY chart up for sure, just to see how this is going to be developing after the open.
Yeah, so all right, a couple of things. As you guys have probably heard, the Brett Steenbarger interview on YouTube was published a week and a half or so ago. So if you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's great insight, trading psychology. And we're going to be lucky enough to have a meetup with him in New York City on September 21st. 4 p.m. I believe it's a Saturday. It'll be somewhere, I believe, around Midtown Manhattan. We do have a registration page, so everyone's welcome. We just need a head count, and depending on if it and how out of hand the registration gets, we might have to limit it at some point. So register early. Eamon, if he would put up the link to the registration for the Steenbarger deal. It says get a ticket. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. We'll buy drinks and appetizers. You don't have to be a member to come. We'd love to see you there. So couple of things on that. Steenbarger specifically. We had our webinar, lifetime webinar last night. So if you're a lifetime member of the chat and you did not get to attend last night, the recording of that should be up hopefully later today. Right, Carlos?
Yep, it will.
Other big news we have, Dash Trader is doing their second #1 best trader competition. Bearable Traders is a sponsor of this competition. Got a prize of going to the NASDAQ in New York and touring the facilities and all kinds of other stuff. You can look into that on their page. So the actual competition is the month of September, begins Tuesday, September 3rd, the day after the holiday, runs to the 30th. You can sign up at onebesttrader.com. If you use the promo code BBTFall15, you can save $15 off the registration. Early bird registration is $75, so you can get it for $60 for a month of sim and DAS. Plus, I believe you get to crank it up now if you sign up now to practice. So that's a heck of a deal to be able to use DAS, try out DAS for that period of time. So like I said, the promo code there is BBTFall15. You'll save $15 and you'll be tagged as a BBT member for the competition. Let's see here. We are honored at Bearable Traders. We've been nominated for the Benzinga FinTech Awards in the Best Financial Literacy Tool category. You can vote on that one time per device per day. It runs until October, so it's quite a long voting period, but there's a link. It takes about 2 seconds. So if you enjoy our content, we'd really love to have you sign up there. Last but not least, Trade Ideas is offering a 25% off their standard and premium subscriptions. There's a discount code, which is back to school with the number 2 school, no spaces or anything. But there's also a link you can use. If you use that link through, it'll take you straight there and apply the promo code. So it's a little bit easier to use. Just checking my notes. If you are watching us on YouTube and you have not been in the room and you'd like to see us trade live and just try out the room, there's a 1-week trial you can get at a discounted rate. It does not auto renew or anything like that, so it's strictly a 1-week trial at a discount. Use the promo code premarket24, no spaces, premarket24, and you'll be able to use that code. And then this afternoon from 3 to 4 Eastern, Kurt's going to have his fireside chat, and today he will be discussing how to modify your trading strategies when the market tells you to. So one other meetup piece of info: September 7th, San Francisco area is having their meetup there, so you can look in the forums or on our Facebook to RSVP for that and more information on where it is. And I've got Jared in there saying it's San Francisco SFO is notorious for having flights delayed, so you gotta watch out if you book a flight too close, and don't expect to get any disposable plastic water bottles either, from my understanding. That's all I got for today, Carlos.
Sounds good. All right, guys, so let's get to it. Let's go in here and let's start building our list. So we have here CRM again, one of the ones that's actually up this morning. That is looks tradable. It's got some news behind it. So we have our high of the pre-market sitting at 159.24. So we'll mark that down. Your low of your pre-market sitting at 156.07. So we'll mark that down. As well, you can see how that range also has been supporting resistance when it's been chopping around this few days here, so that's good. Above that, you have another area of resistance. Once it gets above that 159.09, this 161.18, you can see several days just kind of really banging their head around that level. Slightly above that, you have another pop over here at 162, basically 163. And then one more all the way up here at 167.74. And I think, Norm, you mentioned this was the all-time high, if I'm not mistaken, right? You said we're pretty close to that this morning. Yeah, it looks like that is. So correct me if I'm wrong, guys. And then towards the bottom, guys, low of the pre-market 156.21. Below this, we do have I like this level here, several days bouncing off of that 152.16. You can clearly see the support happening there. And then also you have an area right in here around 154.35. Again, if you draw that line right on there, it's that 154.35. You can clearly see on the daily how you have several days bouncing off that price level. So that's what we have on CRM. Again, this one, guys, doesn't trade very clean, so be very careful trading it today. But this one to definitely watch is the only one that's green this morning that looks actually tradable. PBTL and CLBK, although they're green, there are in rumors of a buyout or an actual buyout and not really tradable this morning. JD is next. Again, JD, MU, PDD, BABA, and AMD and Apple. These are all going to be, as we mentioned before, are really moving with the market. Okay, so they don't have any news separate from what the SPY is doing. As we know, the SPY this morning, I'll bring it up, is again, it's slightly down. So a lot of these stocks are just they tend to move with the SPY, especially on this all this China news that kind of affects these stocks here. So starting with JD, if we take a look at that. So JD here, also if you look at JD's 5 and the SPY's 5, looks very, very similar this morning. Low off your pre-market sitting at a 28.48, and then below that you have a nice level at 27.69, so we'll mark that down. Two great levels towards the bottom. Towards the top, you have your previous day close. You have a moving average right on the high of the pre-market at 29.86, so I'm going to mark that down. Then above that, you have your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days on JD. Again, nothing exciting about JD, guys, so I might not be keeping that one as the morning develops. MU also same situation, guys, down quite a bit, but not a clean pre-market activity. If we look at the SPY, this is exactly what we're getting from the SPY. If you look at the SPY 5-minute chart, as Norm mentioned earlier before, just gonna bring this down over here. This is our SPY chart this morning. As you can see, guys, it clearly just looks like what is going on with everything else today, right? So kind of look at the 5 on MU, look at the 5 on the SPY, almost exactly identical there. So next we have, so for MU, we already have some levels on these guys. We have your highs and lows towards the top. Previous day close around here, around 44.78. Towards the bottom, if we can lose this, we already have a level at 43.14. But again, if you're going to trade any of these stocks today, you definitely want to keep an eye on the SPY to see what that is doing. Even PDD after gapping up, if you look at it, very similar activity to what the SPY is doing. So even though you had this nice pop yesterday, not really doing much independently. There's no extra news on PDD this morning. For levels, you have your highs and lows already from the last 2 trading days. After this beautiful gap, you have your previous day close. So you don't really need to add anymore. Maybe you add the low of the pre-market sitting at 29.50. Maybe you mark that on there. But prior to that, you don't really have any more levels on PDD that you can add. I think you have plenty between the last 2 trading days for recent activity. Next we have BABA. So BABA also, again, guys, another one. Look at the SPY, look at BABA, which is very similar to what is happening. This morning, the daily though, if we can continue to drop, it does have a nice daily on BABA here. 167.96 is your low of your pre-market, and you have a nice moving average at 166. 166.19, so that's a good one as well. But again, just be careful with this one. Keep a SPY chart up this morning in your watch list for the open. HPQ is one that's actually down on some news, not really following what the SPY is doing. So this is one you definitely want to have. High of the pre-market 17.65, your low of your pre-market at 17. 1805. And if we go back here, the next level towards the top, we have one here at 1809. What else do we have towards? All right, so let's go to our weekly chart now, see what we can find. Zoom in here. So below this 1706, we look at how these levels are reacting, even on the weekly chart here. You can clearly see some level of support and resistance. So towards the bottom, below this 1706 low of the pre-market, you have this 1638. So that's a good one to mark down. Look at that 1638 also playing as resistance here as well. Just one more towards the bottom so we can have at least two in case this thing decides to tank today. Yeah, not the cleanest one, but I'm going to mark this one, 1581. Not the cleanest daily. I do love the 1638 because you can see the clear resistance and clear support here. But again, not in love with that 1581, but that looks like to be the cleanest one in that area. So that's what we have on HPQ, guys. Definitely want to watch today at Foot Locker as well. It is trading independently now with the market on its own news today. Low of the pre-market is 36. So mark that down. Your high of your pre-market is at 44. 65, so that's already marked. We do have some levels at 45 and also 44.60, so keep those there. That's a big drop. Between the high and lows, you have plenty of levels right in here, so don't really need to add anymore towards the middle. Maybe this one here looks like a good level as well, this 38.40. You can mark that down, but I'm more interested to find a level towards the bottom. If we lose this 36, what do we have? Let's go over to a weekly and head down here. So here we go. So we have some levels right here at 31. We have another one here at 33.72 and all the way down here at 28. I don't think we'll get there, guys, but that's a good area to have a possible level here. So we're kind of getting a squeeze at the moment here, pre-market. So again, bouncing nicely from that 36 level. See what we can get out of that. AMD, guys, same situation. AMD, look at this. Look at the chart here. Look at this one. Again, just very similar to what the SPY is doing. So nothing too exciting there. As far as levels, you're stuck within this range. You have plenty of levels right in here. But if we break down towards the bottom, you can add 30.23. You can also add 29.28. Then towards the top, you can add this one, 33.13 and 34. I like 34. 34 is a strong level for AMD. If you draw a line across 34, you can see how 34 plays a very important role on AMD here. I talk a lot with one of the traders, and they trade the stock quite often, and they're also aware that 34 level is always marked on their chart because they see the increase in volume every time it gets to this price action around 34. But again, the chart, guys, again, pretty much following what the SPY is doing today. So very careful with this one as well. And Apple, same thing. Look at the SPY, just a lot of stuff just moving with the actual market, not really independent on its own. Apple is holding this 208.70 right now, low of the pre-market. Below that, we do have 206.88. And then way below that, we have this 202 here. So we'll see what we can get out of that. We have some moving averages in between here as well. This one hitting right at the 206 mark. This one is slightly above around 204. So be on the lookout for that this morning. All right, guys, so that is what we have. Again, there's not a lot of exciting stuff that's moving on its own, but here's what I like so far. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm just going to reorder this real quick. I am going to watch. I do like CRM, FL, AMD.
Carlos, did you look at the gap GPS?
GPS, no, I did not.
The volume's a little lacking. It did just show up on our gappers list. That one reported earnings yesterday, and they have been in an overall massive macro downtrend for quite some time, which is just continuing. And they even disappointed pretty weak expectations on their same store sales growth.
Yeah, actually, now that I'm looking at this chart, yeah, we did look at it. I dismissed it, but if there's some news behind it, this could be worth watching. Because again, at that point, doesn't have a great pre-market activity, but didn't even have the volume. But I see some more coming in now. Okay, yeah, definitely worth taking a look at. I'd rather watch this than some of the stuff that's just moving with the markets, to be honest. Even if it doesn't do anything, I'll keep it on there, and if it does, we'll take advantage. If it doesn't, then it is what it is. But so then GPS, I have CRM, Foot Locker. I'm gonna keep AMD as one of the ones that again, it's moving with the market, but I'll watch AMD because I love the volume on it. GPS, HPQ. What else we have here moving on its own? I think that's really it, guys. Let's get rid of this here. Yeah, this is the list for me this morning, guys. So we have CRM, Foot Locker, AMD's one that's moving with the market, so I'll watch that one, GPS, and HPQ. So again, not the greatest list, because even though these are here, don't look all that great. Peter mentioned OPTT. COPTT is up 42%. Yeah, we looked at this one earlier. This one you got to be careful with, guys. It is a low flow. I think it's 1.4 million shares traded. It has a great pre-market activity, though. I got to tell you, this is a beautiful pre-market activity. Again, but my concern with the stock that it tends to gap up and just sell off. You see a lot of that, so be very, very careful with this. Looks to be holding this moving average at the moment, so we'll see what we can get out of OPTT. This could be one. This could be one for the low flow team today. So we're gonna put this down here. For the low flow team, OPTT. Again, be very careful, manage your risk accordingly on that one. All right, folks, that is my list for today. Someone mentioned BA. I think Norm mentioned BA as well, right? See BA. BA's daily is nice, yeah. BA has a nice daily. So this could be another possible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that could be the 6 for today. So I like CRM. Foot Locker is nice, bouncing off that 36. AMD's, it'll be the one I'll be watching that is going to be moving with the SPY. As you can see, already completely doing the exact same thing. GPS, hopefully we can get some breakouts out of that. HPQ, it's got some news behind it, down quite a bit, guys, 9%. And then BA as well. For BA, let's get some levels for this. High of the pre-market sitting at 359 on the dot, so we'll mark that down. There we go. Your low of your pre-market slightly below the previous day close, so we'll keep that on there. Actually, no, we can mark it down. 352.77 low of your pre-market, and then towards the bottom, if we can lose that, we have a nice level right here at 350. Basically 349.38. 350 is a good one, and then towards the top, a nice level right in here at 360. That's quite a bit away from that, but again, anything's possible. I had a huge day yesterday. It could possibly have a continuation today. All right, guys, that is our list. Thank you guys on YouTube for joining us. It is Friday, so again, get ready to enjoy your weekend. Trade safe. Most importantly, be disciplined. Be patient, guys. Today's not a day to come back if you had a bad day yesterday. This is not the day you want to make up for any losses this week. This day, you can tell, is already starting to look not as great. Some of the stocks on here don't have the best pre-market activity, don't have the stuff that we're looking for the open. Be patient. Be on the lookout. What time is the call, Norm, today?
It is in 40 minutes, straight up 10 o'clock. It's a press conference at the Jackson Hole Symposium by Fed Chair Powell, so I might not even trade until after that.
Yeah, so
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but be aware that if you're in a trade, be very cautious. If you're close, what I like to do personally, if I'm in a trade and I'm very close to my entry, I'm gonna consider getting out before, a few minutes before that starts. Or if I have a little cushion and I see it turn around, I'm immediately gonna take everything off. So just be aware of that, guys. Again, trade safe and keep in mind that discipline. Follow your rules and don't force anything today. Not a day like today where things are not looking great. You do not want to force anything. Save some ammo for Monday. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend.
Trade safe. Thanks for watching.